Affordable, accessible and ready to take on Royal Enfield at its own game, the Triumph Speed T4 is meant for those who want a relaxed ride, relatively speaking. But what are the changes compared to the Speed 400, and does the Speed T4 have what it takes to knock off Royal Enfield off its perch? Well, that's what we are about to find out in this video. But before we begin, I request you to subscribe to the NDTV Auto YouTube channel in case you haven't already, and please do click on that bell notification icon so that you don't miss out on any of our latest videos. The Speed T4 gets a number of changes compared to the Speed 400 in order to make it look more rugged, make it more affordable and easier to ride. To start off, the engine has the same displacement but makes 31 horsepower at 7000 rpm along with peak torque output of 36 Newton meters at 5000 rpm. In comparison, the Speed 400 makes 40 horsepower and 37.5 Newton meters at about 1000 to 1500 revs higher. So the torque kicks in lower, and thanks to a 39 tooth sprocket at the rear compared to the 43 on the Speed 400, the rideability is now relaxed and less hurried. Well, this means that there's a lot more grunt in the bottom end and the mid-range, with the magic happening between 2500 to 5000 rpm. The Speed T4 is happiest at speeds of between 65 to 85 km per hour, and the tractability on the engine goes up by a couple of notches, which means lesser gear shifts in the city. Triumph says that there is a minimal difference in terms of acceleration and top speed. The Speed T4 does the 0 to 60 km per hour sprint in 3.3 seconds, which is just 0.3 seconds less than the Speed 400, and the top speed drops from 145 km per hour on the 400 to 135 km per hour on the T4. There are a few other changes as well. The T4 now gets a manual and smaller throttle bodies instead of ride-by-wire, and the traction control is given a miss as well. The motorcycle continues to get a slipper clutch and the gearbox operation is smooth. In the real world, these changes help lower the cost along with offering a different riding experience. Well, the next set of changes is quite important too, because out goes the upside down fork and in comes a regular 43mm telescopic fork. The monoshock at the rear stays the same, and the suspension travel at both ends is about 130mm. The travel at the rear goes down by 10mm, but the state of tune of the suspension is comfort oriented. Also, the ride becomes a touch plusher because of the new MRF Nylon Grip Zapper tires, which have a thicker aspect ratio. The seat height isn't too tall at 805mm, and thanks to the new design, it is comfy too. The weight of the bike too is 180 kg, which is just a kg more than the 2025 Speed 400. The good news is the ground clearance of the T4 goes up to 170mm as compared to 158mm on the old Speed 400. Other changes include a hydroformed steel handlebar instead of an aluminium unit on the Speed 400, and a variety of parts such as the exhaust have been blacked out to give the bike a youthful and sporty appeal. Lastly, the Speed T4 gets stemmed rear view mirrors instead of the bar end mirrors. In terms of handling, the Speed T4 isn't as sharp and as agile as the Speed 400. That's because the motorcycle gets a slightly longer wheelbase and the steering geometry is slightly different too. But filtering through traffic is quite easy, and if you tip this motorcycle into a corner, you're not going to feel any difference provided you already have a point of reference. If not, it doesn't make any difference in the real world riding conditions. And if we talk about the braking of the motorcycle, well, the bike sheds speed quite nicely and in a progressive manner, despite the fact that the motorcycle gets organic brake pads and not sintered brake pads, and axial calipers instead of radial calipers on the Speed 400. The other big difference is the fact that the fuel efficiency goes up from 26 kmpl on the Speed 400 to 30 kmpl on the Speed T4. And the other highlight is the fact that this motorcycle sounds different than the Speed 400. Let's listen to the exhaust note. Well, the exhaust note on the Speed T4 has more bass and has a burbly character to it, which I quite like. better than that of the Speed 400. Royal Enfield proudly sits atop the modern classic segment with a market share of anywhere between 80 to 85%. Triumph is a distant second with just 4 to 5% market share, and the rest of the OEMs like Java, YSD, Honda, and Hero along with Harley Davidson make up for the rest of it. It is going to take a long time and a lot more products from the Triumph Bajaj partnership to knock Royal Enfield off its perch, but there is confirmation that there will be more products on this platform from Triumph in the coming years. Is it a nod to a Bonneville 400 or a Thruxton 400? We are as intrigued and interested to find out as you. As far as the quality levels are concerned, it is the same, if not better, than the Speed 400. The good news is that Triumph along with Bajaj is giving some serious food for thought to Royal Enfield with the Speed T4, meant to take on the likes of the Hunter 350 and the Classic 350. The T4 is more modern than Classic, and it offers a very different and a very relaxed riding experience along with the necessary thrills. But what I feel is that the cost of the motorcycle could have been slightly lesser, say about 2,10,000 rupees from the current 2,17,000 rupees. Nonetheless, this is a great product and it is going to eat away at its main rival's market share. But before the alarm bells start ringing for Royal Enfield, there's still some time. What are your thoughts on the Triumph Speed T4? Do let us know in the comments below. Till then, take care, ride safe, and if you're riding a two-wheeler, please do wear a helmet.